Good afternoon. I'm Spot On Weather meteorologist Matthew Euler, and welcome to today's video. I'm going to take a look at the week ahead weather as well as potential February snow threats. And look at I had to throw this particular graphic or picture on the title slide of today's video. This is so appropriate, being that Groundhog's Day is coming up here, it would be on Wednesday the 2nd of February, and nothing quite brings Groundhog Day to light more than the Bill Murray movie Groundhog Day. And here's just a funny portion of, a funny little picture here showing Bill Murray with the groundhog. So, yes, Groundhog Day. Maybe I'll do a special video at some point in the future as far as the accuracy of the groundhog and predicting whether winter will last another 6 weeks or not. But for today, we're going to focus in on the week ahead weather as well as potential February snow threats. Now, the pattern is going to remain active through about the 12th to the 13th of February. So we'll go over that here in a moment. First, I want to start out today's video by just showing how the month of January, this actually should be January 2022. For January 2022, the mean temperature anomalies, and if you notice, we're looking at about 1 to 2 to 3 degrees below normal. This is degrees Fahrenheit, by the way, for anomalies across the Mid-Atlantic. And there are a couple of pockets. Up in New England here in New York State, where it's been 5 to 10 degrees Fahrenheit below normal. And then another colder pocket over northern Minnesota, down into eastern Iowa, northern Illinois, Wisconsin, parts of upper peninsula of Michigan. And the milder air and the drier conditions have pretty much been along the U.S. West Coast for the month of January 2022. Now let's take a look at the week ahead forecast portion of the video. And all these graphics are courtesy of Tropical Tidbits website. Overall, what I'm showing you on these particular graphics are the surface pressure features, areas of precipitation, green and yellow being liquid, and then blue being snow or frozen precipitation. Okay, so we've got a thickness chart that I'll be going through along with surface pressure features. Now, when you look at the thickness lines, they're the dash lines here. And these blue dash lines generally correlate to colder temperatures, while the red dash lines correlate to milder air. Okay. In addition, the lower the thickness values get, the more compact the atmosphere from the surface up to about 18,000 feet, the more dense those molecules of air are compacted together, which leads to much colder temperatures. So lower thickness value equal colder temperatures. Higher thickness value equal warmer temperatures. All right, and so let's take a look at the GFS model forecast for the upcoming week. We start off here on Monday, the 31st of January 2022, and we have an upper level trough and some colder air that is working its way from the Mid-Atlantic up to New England. We do have an area of rain, and some heavier rain at that, over eastern Texas for tomorrow, the 31st of January. And then we also have some unsettled weather across the Pacific Northwest, a few snow showers across Idaho into western Montana, northwest Wyoming. A little bit of shower activity along the Pacific coast there in Seattle down to Portland. We move ahead now to Tuesday the 1st of February, to start the month of February. There's a weak area of low pressure situated off the Mid-Atlantic coast, but that is moving away. Continued dry for the Mid-Atlantic coast, for Virginia and the Carolinas. We do have a little bit of activity of showers moving in from the Gulf over central Louisiana, as well as another area of showers developing from central Illinois down through northern and southern Missouri. We do see on Tuesday, the 1st of February, we do see the beginnings of an Arctic cold front. Okay, the boundary at this point in time stretches from lower Michigan down through northern Illinois, northwestern Missouri, northern Kansas. You can see the colder air, these lower thickness values, just the gradient, that thickness gradient, the packing of these lines is much tighter. And so you're seeing a much colder shot of air that begins to move into the northern plains by Tuesday. By Wednesday, the 2nd of February here on the left, look what we have going on. A very strong Arctic high, 1048 millibar high pressure system, clockwise flow around it, bringing cold northerly winds and transporting much colder air into Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, down to Iowa, Nebraska, Kansas, onto the east side of the Rocky Mountains, the Front Range of Colorado, as well as stretching through Missouri, Illinois. And you'll notice along the boundary of the greatest temperature contrast, we call that the baroclinic zone, where the air masses kind of meet and where you have very strong temperature differences over a shorter horizontal distance. We have a much tighter thermal or temperature gradient, and we have a lot of jet stream energy overhead as well. Over the Midwest by Wednesday, the 2nd of February, this would be Groundhog Day. So we got a lot of snow breaking out across Illinois, Missouri, down to Kansas, again, the Front Range of Colorado. And we have rain now. We got a high pressure system off the East Coast, so we got southerly winds beginning to pump in moisture from the Gulf of Mexico by Wednesday, from Mississippi, Alabama, western Tennessee, Kentucky, down along the Ohio River, far southern Indiana into Ohio. We have rain showers. And so we have a lot of activity developing along this baroclinic zone, or this Arctic boundary. It'll be milder on southwest winds for the mid-Atlantic by Wednesday and Thursday as well. Thursday on the right, now we have a 1050 millibar high, very strong over the North Dakota-Minnesota border. And look at the darker blue shading. That represents heavier snow now breaking out on Thursday, the 3rd of February, from southern Missouri down through southern Illinois across to south central Indiana, on up to northern Ohio. So this could be a heavy swath of snow from southern Missouri up through south central Illinois and Indiana and into lower Michigan. So keep that in mind if you're traveling west by Wednesday or this Thursday, the 3rd of February. We still see some warm, mild south-southwest winds into the mid-Atlantic. That's going to help allow these thickness values to rise, and as those thickness values get higher, the temperatures become milder. And we have an area of low pressure situated near Memphis, Tennessee. So we got the counterclockwise flow around that low pressure, and the milder air moves up the eastern seaboard by Thursday. Very mild conditions, highs maybe into the upper 50s to low 60s for southeast Virginia by Thursday. And then you see the heavy snow continuing across parts of southern Illinois and central Indiana, right on the backside of this surface area of low pressure. Don't forget, we also have to talk about this red and this pinkish purple color. That's ice. That's a transition zone. That's ice. From central Ohio down to southern Indiana, onto southern tip Illinois, southeast Missouri, and to northern Arkansas. And look at how far the wintry precip extends, all the way down into northeastern Texas. Look at Dallas. Dallas, you may be looking at much colder temperatures by Thursday, the 3rd of February, with snow flying across Dallas and parts of the Texas Panhandle area. So it's going to be some abrupt changes for those in the state of Texas this week. Moving ahead now to Friday, the 4th of February here on the left, showing the Arctic boundary now approaching the mid-Atlantic coast into parts of Virginia. We have rain showers extending from central to southeastern Virginia all the way down the coast to parts of the Carolinas, Georgia, into the Florida Panhandle, Pensacola area, Panama City, Destin. Shower activity, rain showers by Friday, the 4th of February. And then we have the heavier amounts of snow moving up towards New England. A little bit of a mess, a mix of rain and snow for areas such as Boston, Rhode Island, and Providence, and Hartford, Connecticut, down to northern Jersey. And also extending just to the west, the Appalachian Mountains by Friday, the 4th of February. Looking at the graphic on the right here, this shows the forecast for Saturday, the 5th of February. A 1042 millibar high is situated over northwestern New York State. Very cold air now working its way down the eastern seaboard from Maine, Massachusetts, down to Jersey, as well as the D.C. area into Virginia. And you see most of the moisture has now moved offshore with the Arctic frontal boundary. Moving ahead now to the 6th of February. This would be Sunday, the 6th of February on the left. There is a new disturbance, an upper air disturbance that takes shape across the Ohio River Valley. And so we see snow across portions of northern Tennessee and parts of Kentucky, southern Indiana, southern Ohio, some shower activity to the south of that over western Tennessee, down through northern Alabama into northern Georgia. By the time we get to, this would be Monday, the 7th of February, high pressure begins to reestablish itself over the mid-Atlantic, and that disturbance is now located over the western Atlantic Ocean. Now, this is the GFS model. Meanwhile, conditions are much wetter along the Gulf Coast by Monday the 7th of February from southeast Texas down along southern Louisiana, New Orleans, as well as Mobile and Pascagoula into Pensacola. So overall, this disturbance looks much drier on the GFS model as it moves through the mid-Atlantic. I'm going to show you a European depiction here in a moment. All right, so now let's take a look at, this is a European depiction for the same storm system on the 6th and 7th of February. Let's take a look at this. This is the European model for 7 February. And what you'll notice is we have an upper level trough that extends from the northern plains down into the mid-Atlantic. An area of low pressure develops off the coast of South Carolina. This would be on early Monday afternoon, the 7th of February. So we have some moisture that is actually moving around the northwest side of that low pressure system. Colder temperatures have now dipped into the mid-Atlantic, Virginia into the Carolinas. We look at the right-hand graphic here. This moves ahead the time forecast period to, this would be Monday afternoon, actually Monday evening at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on the 7th of February. And notice the area of low pressure is off the Carolina coast, the North Carolina coast on the European model. And we see a shield of precip in that colder air back on the northwest side of the low. And what is that little shield of precip on the northwest side of the low and the colder air yield? Well, the latest 12Z European model today on the 30th of January shows a swath of snow, accumulating snow of 1 to 3 inches across northeastern parts of North Carolina. So, big difference in models right now. Plenty of time to watch this, but the GFS model shows a weaker system. The European model shows a stronger system by that 6 and 7 February time period. So just something to keep an eye on. Additionally, beyond that system, we have a couple other winter storm threats. 2 and 3, the graphic on the left shows 9 February, and the graphic on the right shows the 12th of February. In both cases, we see an active bit of moisture coming up from the subtropical jet stream, meeting this cold trough, this colder air to the northwest. In this case, the GFS model on the left for the 9th of February is depicting a mainly rain event for the mid-Atlantic into the Carolinas, the area of low pressure just to the east of the Virginia coastline. The graphic on the right shows this would be Saturday the 12th of February. Now we have much colder air working into the mid-Atlantic, into the southeastern U.S., and what happens is this area of low pressure begins to intensify, and you get snow on its backside into southeastern Virginia, parts of North Carolina, on up the coast to New Jersey and eastern Pennsylvania by the 12th of February. So there are multiple storm threats possible. We have, and I'm counting them here, this is 1, this is 2, and 3. So 7 February, 9 February on the left, and 12 February on the right. There's 3 multiple chances for storms to come up and impact some type of precipitation into the mid-Atlantic. Now, it's way too early to tell what type of precip this is going to be, but it's just pattern recognition. Cold upper level trough over the east, and we have a subtropical jet stream fairly active, and we see these little disturbances, this moisture overrunning the cold air, and it could result in a couple other threats that are coming up. So just wanted to throw that out there. Additionally, we need to take a look at the stratospheric polar vortex. And the latest GEFS model is indicating a weakening trend to the vortex. You see these purple colors and these green colors. This indicates very cold stratospheric temperatures up at 10 millibars, or 18 miles above the Earth's surface. All right. And notice the shape of this, how elongated this has become. This is, by the way, on the 8th of February right here. So much colder air has worked its way down into the United States from the polar vortex. And then this particular graphic on the right shows the 9th of February, 2022. And look at the green coloring, how this cold air starts descending into the northern plains, into the eastern U.S. by the 12th of February. So it looks, on some of these models, this is the latest GFS Ensemble forecasting system, GEFS. This shows some sort of weakening or elongation of the stratospheric polar vortex between the period 8 to 12 February. And I recently just looked at the GFS data as well, and it's very similar. So we'll have to wait and see how this works out. Additionally, when we look at the ensemble forecast charts, very similar in their approach. If you look at the graphic on the left, it shows the 3rd of February, 2022. Notice the orange shading and the maroon shading. This indicates an upper level ridge and milder temperatures. And so by the end of this upcoming week, this is the 3rd of February on the left, showing milder temperatures in the eastern U.S. and a little bit of a trough. This is that upper level trough associated with the potential wintry weather moving towards the Midwest down into Texas later in the week. Additionally, on the right here, you see this is the 6th of February according to the GEFS Ensemble, showing a fairly mild west to east flow, more zonal west to east flow by next weekend. This, again, is the 6th of February. Moving ahead now in the GEFS model, showing milder temperatures, a fairly zonal flow on the 9th of February across the east. But notice this is a building upper level ridge at rising heights over the Gulf of Alaska. And that's going to result in a downstream trough or amplification of a trough digging into parts of the desert southwest of the U.S. Graphic on the right shows the GEFS forecast for, now this is interesting, this is the 12th of February, and notice how these heights continue to rise into the Gulf of Alaska. This is going to allow a trough to further amplify generally over the northern plains down through the central U.S. down to the east coast. And look at the blue shading here indicating that anomalously low heights or upper level trough. And this is going to be synonymous with colder than normal temperatures. So to me, just looking at this particular GEFS model, that shows this connection of the Arctic and a potential lobe of the polar vortex extending down into the eastern U.S. around the 12th of February. Something to watch. Now, taking a look at the European ensemble forecasting system, very similar for late this week, 3 February, showing an upper level ridge and mild temperatures over the eastern U.S. And then more zonal flow, very good agreement with the GEFS, more zonal west to east flow of air here by next weekend, Sunday the 6th of February. And then the 9th of February showing this upper level ridge off the U.S. west coast, kind of flattened over the top, so it doesn't really indicate very strong building of the ridge just yet. On the 9th of February, general west to east flow from the Midwest to the East Coast by this point, overall on the 9th of February. But then things become more amplified again by the 12th of February, according to the European ensemble, showing this upper level ridge building, the heights rising again into Alaska. That's going to help dislodge some colder air down into the Midwest as well as the eastern U.S. over time. So both models indicating very similar patterns, milder late this week, more zonal flat west to east flow around the 6th of February, and then a potential lobe of the polar vortex, a much more amplifying, deeper trough developing over the Midwest, the central and eastern U.S. by 12 February with rising upper level heights into the Gulf of Alaska. Looking at the Teleconnections Forecast, this is a European deterministic model forecast showing, in general, we got a neutral AO, Arctic oscillation right now, going to dip down to negative territory early this upcoming week, then goes positive again before it potentially goes back negative around the 9th of February. The European deterministic North Atlantic oscillation NAO forecast showing a fairly neutral trend in the NAO, then becoming positive, neutral, and then back positive again, but then it dips back down into negative territory, similar to the AO here in the upper left by the 9th of February. Looking at the Pacific North American forecast here on the upper left, showing overall a neutral PNA today, dipping down slightly into negative territory. This is going to allow colder temperatures to filter into the to the western U.S. This upcoming week, and then becoming neutral and positive, and then back negative again around the 9th of February. And then the East Pacific Oscillation EPO forecast showing a neutral trend, dipping negative, back positive, and remaining slightly positive by the 9th of February with the EPO forecast. So here are my final thoughts on today's video. We're looking at milder temps mid to late this week across the eastern U.S. And for Virginia specifically, southeastern Virginia, we will see temperatures into the 50s, then possibly, lower 60s, and then becoming close to 70, as high as 70 degrees on Friday in that southwesterly wind flow before the Arctic cold front crashes in. It really depends on the timing of when the Arctic cold front moves in. If it moves in Friday morning, then we most likely will not see that 70-degree reading. It'll probably be into the low 60s, maybe 62, and then temperatures will fall off. But if the Arctic front comes through later towards evening, we continue to see southwesterly winds ahead of the frontal boundary, it is possible we could be up to near 70 degrees by week's end. Rain showers are going to occur on Friday, 4 February, ahead of the Arctic cold front along the mid-Atlantic coast. GFS is indicating a quick transition to wintry mix before precip ends overnight Friday night into Saturday morning. We're not expecting any accumulations with that, by the way. While the European model does not show the wintry mix, the European model just kind of shows the Arctic front moving through with the rain ahead of it and then much drier and colder air moving in behind the frontal boundary. So we expect a dry and cold first weekend of February, very mild temperatures on Friday. The 4th of February will give way to much colder temperatures, maybe a high near 40 or 41 degrees next Saturday, the 5th of February. The cold air does appear to be transitory in nature, with quick hitting shots, followed by a brief warm-up, then cold again. So we're not locking into a colder pattern like we saw in the month of January. This is going to be more quick hitters, where we get really cold behind a cold front, maybe for a day, 24 to 36 hours, and then we'll warm up again before the next cold front moves through. So in order to get another winter storm here in the mid-Atlantic, especially as we move into February, we're really going to need the right timing of the colder air moving in and moisture coming in from the southwest in association with that subtropical jet stream. Now, we do know that it does appear to be fairly active with these systems. You know, the one on the 7th of February, the one on the 9th of February, the one on the 12th of February. You see multiple storms coming up the coast. The question will be is, do we get the cold trough coming in at the same time the moisture moves in? Or will we keep the coldest air back to the northwest, west of the Appalachians, and we see a coastal storm move up the coast and it's just going to be a rainstorm? So that's really what I'm interested in watching the next 10 days or so to see how things pan out. But again, there are multiple threats here, okay? So I like the look of the fact that the subtropical jet and the moisture is still very active into the mid-Atlantic. So we still could see a potential winter storm out of these three events. It's still potentially possible, all right? Moving on, again, the subtropical jet tends to look active with three potential storm systems moving up the East Coast, one on the 7th, one on the 9th, and one on the 12th of February. So those are the main dates I'm watching right now according to the models. Now that's the models as of today, the 30th of January. The timing, the placement, how the trough develops or doesn't develop it's going to change between now and these dates. You know, we're looking at tomorrow's the 31st of January, so we're still, even from the first system on the 7th of February, we're still looking pretty far out in time, about 7 to 8 days out. But I am intrigued by the European model and its forecast. Now, will it be too warm for wintry precip across southeastern Virginia? Many of you have asked, after this last winter storm, the snow that we received, hey, is winter over now? Do you see any other threats coming up? And, simply put, again, it's a matter of timing, right? It's a matter of, can we get the cold air in from the northwest, and then we get a wave of low pressure to develop along some sort of Arctic boundary like we've seen in January to move up and just off the East Coast? Is that possible? Yes. But again, it starts getting tricky in February. I think the best window for snow along coastal Virginia is basically between now and the 15th of February. And why is that? Because after 15 February, you get increasing solar radiation during the day. And you'll notice this. You'll have a good winter storm track offshore, and it appears to be really good cold air in place. But yet, snow will change to rain during the day because of the solar radiation. Okay, it's starting to get stronger in February. And it's a case of where timing of the precipitation will matter as well. If you get heavier precipitation to move in after sunset or during nighttime, there's a good chance you're going to get a snowstorm and accumulation out of it. But if you get precip to move in during the daytime, in the month of February, especially as we progress from mid to late February, things get increasingly difficult to see snow accumulating and sticking on the ground because that snow wants to change the rain during daylight hours. So timing of the precip, track of the storm, does the cold upper level troughs from the northwest, do they meet up with a coastal storm? These are all things that go through my mind. And so overall, another major factor I want to point out in today's video is, will the polar vortex weaken? Will that stratospheric polar vortex weaken, sending another lobe of very cold air south into the eastern U.S. between now and middle February? Will that occur? That's a good question. Some models are hinting at this potential, and that is just what it is. It's potential. It's just, you're talking 10 to 14 days out in time, and a lot of things can change. And so I use that word potential very carefully, okay? But overall, climatology-wise, the average weather for southeastern Virginia, if you live on the coast here, the best window for snow is between now and 15 February. I think once we get beyond 15 February, it's going to take some more extraordinary circumstances by the atmosphere with the overall synoptic pattern to really produce a snowstorm. We've already seen 2 snowstorms over the last 10 days. It's been an amazing winter to this point, if you ask me. If you really wanted snow, this has been one heck of a month of January alone. And we just missed out on the big snow that just occurred with that major bomb cyclone that went up the coast. Virginia Beach had 4 inches. I recorded 4 inches from the snow overnight on Friday night into Saturday morning. Saturday morning yesterday, the 29th of January. I had 4 inches in the yard. But it's very possible still. I'm not going to throw the towel in on the potential for wintry precip just yet. I like the way things look. Here overall with the pattern, especially this European storm. There's a lot that can happen with this between now and the 7th of February. This thing could head further out to sea and be suppressed. It could be stronger offshore, and we get that trough deeper, and we could see a winter storm for the mid-Atlantic still. So I like to look at that, and I still like to look at the fact that we have potential here for 2 other systems between now and the 12th of February. It's very possible, okay? Especially if a trough like this sets up, okay? This is extremely cold air moving south. Now, granted, look at the time frame on this. This is out to 318 hours into the future, and GFS has a bias to be colder in the longer range, so take that with a grain of salt. But anyway, to end today's video, I hope you enjoyed this video, by the way, but today, to end today's video, I want to do a quick walkthrough of the Spot on Weather website. Some of you may not realize that I also have a website, so I'm going to go out of this temporarily. Let's see if I can go out. Okay, there we go. And I'm going to go to my internet browser. So this is the Spot on Weather website, okay? So if you type in the spot-on-weather.com, you're going to get to our site, okay? Let me refresh it. All right. So what I want to show you on here is I have multiple tabs at the top of the website. You can go and get the latest forecast, the latest observation for Virginia Beach right here. Right now it's saying the temperature is 35 degrees outside today on the 30th of January at 2:45 p.m. So you can get the latest observation. You get the high and low for the day. I do blogs occasionally. Then I'll put that right here under the blogs tab at the top of our website. So you can check out, I got a blog archive going way back to November 2016. Look at all these blogs here. So I have archived blogs if you want to take a look at any storm in the past, what I might have been writing about it. I also have a 7-day weather forecast tab, and this is the latest Spot on Weather 7-day outlook for Hampton Roads, Virginia. Just showing you, what's happening over the next 7 days with the actual weather, the high temperatures, the low temperatures. Okay, and then under the More tab, there's a More tab. Let me go back out of here real quick. So you see this More tab on the right? I do a weather photo gallery as well, and I've got an amazing description of the sky and different storms here in the weather photo gallery. This one goes back into 2016, these particular photos at the beginning of the slideshow. You can check that out. You can also use these arrows to go back and forth. You can go back to the most recent, or you can go forward to the oldest, okay? So this is just my recent pictures I uploaded today. This shows the snow that just occurred on 1/29/2022. And you can take a look at all these snow photos I posted overall on the website, okay, under Weather Photo Gallery. In addition, I save the National Weather Service synoptic discussions each day in this particular tab, the discussions tab in general. And here's a whole archive going all the way back, showing you the different synoptic discussions that are issued by the National Weather Service Wakefield office. So you can kind of read what was going on for specific past events if you like. Additionally, I save the Weather Prediction Center. I save the daily weather maps. Try to upload a new weather map each day so you can kind of see what the pattern looked like. Here's all the different archive months if you want to go back and look at the way the weather charts look for different months and years. I have that here archived. In addition, I also save daily United States temperatures. I try to do this daily as well. This is showing you the anomalies, how far above or below normal these temperatures were. These are in degrees Celsius. Okay, so you see that. I also save daily U.S. precipitation under the precipitation tab. I'm just kind of showing you from Kokoros what the United States, what it looked like for precipitation across the United States each day. So I do have some archives going back to May of 2021 on that, on the precipitation. Further down under the More tab, we can go to daily satellite images. I like to save visible imagery if possible during each day, once a day, so you can kind of see what's going on. For example, in this image, I can look at this graphic from today and notice these cloud streets over the western Atlantic. This shows me that there's very cold air over the mid-Atlantic down the southeast coast. You'll see a lot of these cloud streets develop on days like today when it's very cold and that cold air is moving off the east coast. But I have all these archive months going back to June of 2021. I started archiving satellite imagery. On the More tab below satellite images, you have the polar vortex. And this just shows you each day. I do images. I save images of the polar vortex between October and February. So I just have the dates and what the vortex looks like each day. If you want to take a look at that, and you can go back in time and check that out. In addition, under the More tab, I have the winter forecast for this year. I also have a tab for winter storm tracks, which shows you the different types of storm tracks out there and generally what type of weather they produce. So you can take a look at this at any time. Additionally, under the More tab, I have the global sea surface temperature anomalies, U.S. temperature anomalies, and so on. So check it out. Weather links. I've had some of you reach out to me on the weather links tab. I tried my best to save some really interesting weather links, and some of you have actually reached out to me in email and asked if I could save your website or with some really cool data, and I'm absolutely happy to do that. In fact, I had somebody reach out to me that runs this Extreme Weather Watch website here, and so I saved that for that person. So this is a nice one-stop shop here, okay, for different weather links, okay, that shows a lot of good information. And so that wraps things up today, Spot on Weather. I certainly hope you enjoyed the presentation, and thank you so much for subscribing to the channel. I've had a lot of good feedback this last week, and I certainly do love to share the weather with you at home, and hopefully you guys learn something each time you see the video. All right, that wraps things up, Spot on Weather. We'll continue to post on social media as well as the website, which I just showed you. I wish everybody a pleasant Sunday and best upcoming work week as well. Take care, everybody. Until next time, God bless.